the 18th, 2025. I'm Joey Hargis, the Metro Zoning Administrator, and I'll be going over the cases for review in today's public hearing. The board would ask if you would at this time put your phones on silent or vibrate so they don't go off in the middle of the proceedings. We'd appreciate that. The procedure will be go through the cases that are listed on our agenda in the order they're listed here. I'll like I talked about before, I'll show the photographs and drawings on the big screen by means of this PowerPoint presentation. And once I'm done with my portion, the applicant will come first to the table and put on their case on why the case should be approved today. And then once the applicant's done talking, the opposition will come up after them, and they'll have 10 minutes to present their case. And that's just a reminder, it's 10 minutes per side, not per person. So if you've got multiple folks who want to talk, go ahead and work out who's going to talk for how long. And then after the opposition comes up, the applicant gets a chance to come back up to address any issues raised by the opposition. After each case, the board will close the public hearing and vote on each case before you. They are empowered to act on cases as outlined in Section 1740, 180 of the Metro Code of Law and 137207 of the State Code. A couple things. It should be noted that if anyone's presented false or misleading testimony to this board that may have affected this board's decision, your approval can be revoked at a later date by means of a show cause hearing following through that. If your case is granted today, you will want to follow up with the Codes Department beginning on Monday after the holiday. No, wait, let me take that back. Next Monday, I'm a week too early. Beginning on Monday, if there are any other approvals that you need, you have to be sure you get those approvals before we'll issue a building permit. But the zoning approval on your building permit will be approved beginning on Monday. If you're denied by your case and you feel that the board got it wrong or acted improperly, you do have the right to appeal this board's decision to Chancery Court, and you have 60 days to do so after today's hearing. But after 60 days has expired, this board's approval is final, and no further action can be taken. All right, Mr. Chairman. We talked about, the only preliminary announcement I've got today is the case 133, Woodmont Christian Church, has been postponed until January the 15th. That'll be at 1 o'clock in this room after the new year on January the 15th. And before I get started with our consent agenda, we do allow elected officials, city council members or whomever, to address the board. Are there any council members present with us today? And if so, raise your hand. I don't see any. Okay. All right, no council members present. The board has a consent agenda, and what that is the chairman before the meeting reviews all the cases that are on our agenda, and if, in his opinion, the request that you're asking for meets the criteria of the law to grant a variance or a special exception, and they feel that testimony would not alter the material facts, he'll recommend the approval to the remaining members of the board that are present for approval. So these next case numbers I call are recommended for the consent agenda or our approval agenda. And if you're here in opposition to a case, raise your hand, please. And then we'll pull that case out of the consent agenda and we'll hear it in the order it's listed on the page. So our first case recommended for consent agenda approval is case 2025-111. Mr. Edward Meek, the appellant owner of the property at 322 Oriole Avenue. Are there any parties present in opposition to Mr. Meek's request on Oriole? All right, Mr. Chairman, seeing no hands. The next case recommended for consent is case 2025-136, Mackenzie Miller, the appellant owner of appellant and Emily Elizabeth and Philip Hearn, the owners at 1252 First Avenue South, requesting a variance in the street setbacks and fence height in the RM20 district. Are there any party present in opposition to the fence request on First Avenue? Mr. Chairman, let the record reflect seeing no hands. The next case recommended for consent approval was case 2025-138. This will be at the top of page 3. Mr. Orlando Westbrooks is the appellant owner of the property at 1001 North 5th Street, requesting a special exception for an addition to a church. Are there any parties present in opposition to the request on 1001 North 5th. Mr. Chairman, let the record reflect seeing none. The next case recommended for consent is case 2025-141, Lakeland Building Partners. Gershon and Courtney Jordan, the owners of the property at 4676 Clarksville Pike, requesting a variance in street setbacks to build a new single-family house. Are there any parties present in opposition to case 141? Mr. Chairman, let the record reflect seeing none. And finally, last case recommended for consent, case 2025-142, Patrick and Sally Woodyard, the appellant owners of the property at 5140 Anchorage Drive, requesting a variance in street setbacks to enclose an existing front porch. Are there any parties present in opposition to the case at 5140 Anchorage? Okay, Mr. Chairman, seeing none, that is your consent agenda. Just recapping cases 111, 136, 138, 141, and 142.
Is 128 not on? I thought one.
I do have opposition present.
Okay, for 128, all right.
So I did not call that.
Okay. 133. Let's see.
133 has been postponed to
That's
January
been
the
postponed.
15th.
Yeah. Okay, so any motion with respect to the consent agenda?
Move to approve all consent agenda.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that passes.
If you are here for cases 111, 136, 138, 141, 142, you have been approved. You are free to leave. If you are also invited to stay with the rest of us and go over the cases left on our agenda. And seeing the exit from the room, looks like that answer is no. So, Mr. Chairman, our first case we'll hear today will be case on the top of page 2. It'll be case 2025-128. Mr. Hal Fisher, are you present? Mr. Fisher, or a representative thereof? Okay. If you'll come forward to the front table here, and I'll go through the case first and explain what the request is. Mr. Fisher's request is to a variance in the street step back in RS5 to rebuild a new single-family residence on the lot, referred to the board under section 1712-040. The appellant has alleged jurisdiction under section 1740, 180 item B. And just a note for the board members, that deferred from December 4th. We had an issue with our public notices that went out. A lot of the addresses for some of those cases got messed up, so we had to re-notify it. We discovered it beyond the time of keeping it on the December 4th agenda. So it wasn't like you normally see a request by either party to postpone it, but we postponed it as staff to make sure we notified people that lived in Nashville. So, all right, this subject property is at, wrong case. There we go. It's located at 723 Myrtle Street. At this case, the Codes Department issued a permit to renovate the existing structure that was on the property. The former residence is in a photograph I'll show here. It was clad in yellow on the map. This was the former residence that was there. I'll let the applicant speak to kind of what happened, but our understanding is they got into renovation and realized that there was much more damage to this building. They took it down to the foundation and started to reconstruct. We stopped the job because for us, if you take a house down to the foundation, you've destroyed the residence and you now have to meet today's setback requirements. As you can see in this aerial photo, that house sit in front of many of the homes to the right-hand side, or to the, I guess that'd be the south side of the property. And so their setbacks would be the average of those 4 homes which you see on the thing, which would put that house having to scoot back on the lot. And the amount of distance where it's supposed to be is at 34.8 feet, excuse me, which would be, I'll give you an idea from a laser point standpoint. That would be approximately right through this portion of that front bump out that you saw. So a little bit behind the house to the north, but a little bit in front of the houses to the south is where that house is supposed to be. And what they're requesting for you is to sit at 25.5, which is where the original home sat. So they got under construction, underway. We received a call that, hey, they're building a whole new house out here, and we determined, yep, that's what's going on. So we placed a stop work notice on the lot job, which you see in the foreground right here, and this appeal came forth. So they're seeking a request to rebuild on the existing foundation that's there. We have had some calls about the excuse me, let's try it one more time. We have had some calls about the height of the house. The height is not in violation of the zoning code. This is, or will be, one of the few two-story or story-and-a-half residences above the height. As you saw in that aerial photo, most of the homes out here are one-story. As you look to the south and to the north, they're all one-story houses. But the home itself, as we've told those callers, it is not too tall. It is just too close to the road. So what they're allowed to build in their plans, they're proposing a 19-foot house height to the eave line, which is allowed in that zone district. This will just be the first of those homes that are above single story. So what's before you today is just the setback, and they're asking to go back on the same footprint as the prior.
What is the ask on the setback?
It is 25 feet. It's 25 and a half is what they're asking for, and they're required 34.8 based on the new rules.
So about 9 feet?
About 9 feet, yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, just double checking. We have opposition present? Do? Yes, okay. Did have some hands. I know I talked to another lady out there. So, sir, you'll have 10 minutes to put on your case. Of that 10 minutes, you'll want to save a little bit to rebut their testimony that's going to come after you. So I'll let you decide, once you get down. Just keep an eye on the clock. It'll run after you identify yourself and name and address, but it'll stop for the board's questions or your answers to those questions, but it'll restart afterwards. So, all right, with that, I will turn it over to you, sir.
My name is Hal Fisher, the owner of 723 MYRTLE. Basically we got into the project and it was supposed to be just a quick renovation. Half the house was burnt down. The previous owners didn't seem like they had fixed it properly. So we opened up the walls. The back half of the house was completely burnt down. So the front half of the house, we've kept existing walls. We just have, reframed everything within the existing walls. I have photos of that if you need to see those. But the existing foundation, existing footprint, that has not changed. And before I knew it, and there was a stop work order, before I knew it, we had torn down more than 50% of the house on the back end. But started to rebuild, or my workers had started to rebuild, and got a stop work order, applied for the new permit, new construction permit, and did not realize we were going to have to go through the contextual setback and surveys. But basically, just proposing, since we are building off the existing foundation that was originally there, we're not changing, not going to the right, not going to the left, not going forward or backwards on the footprint. Was just hoping that, we could keep the existing foundation and not have to remove that front portion of the house.
Okay, very good. Any questions for the applicant? Okay.
I've got,
Mr. Ransom has some.
I guess, so your intent was to renovate, and you ended up having to tear the whole house down?
No, sir, not the entire house. There was just the back walls of the house. The front, the entire front of the house, we've got the porch still. We've got, the roof, obviously, we removed after opening it up, but there was extensive fire damage to the house. And the roof was just, obviously, it needed to go, but the front portion of the entire house is remaining. I've just sistered up, all the studs with the original studs. The original fireplace is still there. That second floor, or just half story, that portion is new, but the entire front portion of the first floor, it still does remain. We've got the existing studs still there.
Okay.
And the existing fireplace that was there originally.
Is there, and maybe I'm misreading this, but was there a reason you didn't at some point go get a set of plans, go get an approval, building permit and all that stuff where this would have kicked up?
I'm sorry?
Is there a reason you didn't get a building permit and a set of plans where all this would have kicked up, where you would have learned all this from beforehand? I see that it says Fidelis Investment Group, so I'd assume you're an investor, you're a professional at this. This is
Yes,
not your
sir.
first home.
Well, like I said, when we went to the demo, by the second day we were in the demo, they had removed and had already started reframing. And then we received the stop work order, and I immediately went down to get the new construction permit. It was literally within a matter of a couple days that, my guys were moving fast, and, they see something that's wood damaged or burned, they're going to remove it. And they had already had started to reframe everything. It was just a, lack of time. Obviously, I went down immediately, got the stop work order, and immediately went down to get the new construction permit. It was very quick that, this all came about.
Totally understand that.
Yeah.
As a builder myself, I know how fast guys can work sometimes.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm not getting the connection between your intent was to originally renovate it, and then all of a sudden now it's getting a second story and a whole new frame. So were you planning on putting a second story on the first one in the first place and just going on top of it, or?
Originally, we were going to just, kind of vault the ceilings on the second floor. And we originally had added a staircase to go up to the second floor, and just had originally planned on just vaulting the ceilings up there. So that was still the original plan. And then, got into it and realized there was extensive, I guess the fire had gone up and gone throughout the entire attic. So when that all got removed, but that ceiling was not removed, or the roof was not removed till after we ended up having to pull a demo permit. We removed that entire roof at that point.
Right, but I guess what I'm getting at is the intent was to vault it and then all of a sudden it has a second story. Like there was I know you said the framers move fast, but there was a
Yeah.
conversation that was had and instruction that was given to
Yes, sir. So
proceed to
when we
build the second
pulled,
story.
yes, sir. So when I pulled the new construction permit, we had to pull the demo permit. And looking at everything, like looking at the roof and the roof rafters, I made the decision, hey, well, we had to pull a demo permit anyways, and I'm going to have to go through this request, and it'll look better. And I also didn't feel comfortable leaving the existing roof line. So during the demo process, when I pulled that demo permit, that's what we did. And then we received, a total stop work order. And I'm sorry, it was a miscalculation or, mistake on my end. I take full responsibility of that. But the original plan was to just keep it. I had filed for the new construction permit and pulled the demo permit as well. And, made the decision when we had the demo permit to just go ahead and remove that. And,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yes,
And,
sir.
Joey, remind me, what's the threshold? More than 50% of the house? A couple
Yeah.
walls, what is it?
If you voluntarily demolish more than 50% of the residence, it loses its grandfathering protection on setbacks and has to comply with today's regulations.
Where the house juts out, that's original foundation there too?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I've got a engineer letter for the foundation where he went and checked everything from the original, so.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay, you have some time remaining from rebuttal. We'll hear from the opposition.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I need to-
Yeah, if you can sit back there and
Take
let
a
them
seat
come up.
back, and we'll hear from those parties opposed to the case. And I saw a couple hands, so if you both want to come on up to the table, I got 4 seats here. Like we talked about before, you guys, the 3 of y'all, amongst yourselves, will have 10 minutes to present your side of the case to the board. And if you'll just hit the little button that says push right down there at the base of your microphone, and we'll start. Whoever wants to go first.
And if you could state your name and address, please, ma'am.
My name is Tirsa, T as in Thomas, EARSA Jones. My address is 721 Myrtle Street.
Okay.
And I'm here to speak on behalf, when I saw that it was for the variance, and I had a conversation prior to the meeting starting, I realized that it wasn't based on the height of the house. My understanding was you couldn't build up go to a two-story house when they started building. And when I saw that, I just was in question, and then I knew a court date would come. But I would like for the house to be pushed back in line with the other houses, if that is the rules or part of codes, so it can look decent enough. It's gonna already stand out and look different from all the other homes on the street, but if it is supposed to be pushed back according to codes, I would definitely like for it to be pushed back to kind of give the street still its family look.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Jason Trevathan. I live at 726 Myrtle Street. I'm also opposed to this variance. It does need to fall in line with the contextual overlay. We had the contextual overlay passed in the neighborhood for situations like this. If he would have gone through with the proper steps in the building permit, again, he wouldn't be here right now. He would have known about this. The tear down had happened, and then the construction had been going on for probably, I want to say maybe a week plus. It wasn't until the second story started going up that notified our council person, and a stop work order was put because no work permit had been pulled on that property. So construction had been well underway before any permit was issued.
My name is Tom Daly. I live at 722 Myrtle Street, directly across the street from the house. I also was here mostly for the height thing because of the contextual overlay. I thought it worked on percentages of houses to the right, houses to the left, which then allows for the additional height. It just seems to be too out of proportion. And I don't have facts and figure. I don't know what his height is, but just in looks. And also, there have been several neighbors that have done projects since the contextual overlay who have gone, to great efforts to make sure that they fell within the contextual overlay. And also, to the point that was already brought up, it already sticks out because of the height difference. And just the fact that once it gets that high and it's so far forward, it is just going to stick out. So that's just what my concerns were. But again, I was mostly here for height because it is so much taller.
Okay. Questions for the opposition, anyone? Okay.
No, I don't have any questions, just comments. Just for clarification, I know you guys mentioned height. This is not about that. The contextual overlay is the front setback. I believe there have been some zoning changes recently that height's now 35 feet or 3 stories, Joey? Something along those lines?
Not in a contextual overlay, but elsewhere, elsewhere in the county. The maximum allowable height for this particular area is 27 feet and a story and a half.
Story and a half?
Yes, sir,
27 feet to the peak?
to the peak of the.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thanks.
What will the height be on this house when it's completed?
I think it's 19.5 is what I have in mind. Is that
To
what
the
you have,
peak?
Mr. Hargis?
To the peak, it's only going to be 19.5?
I think it's 19.5. Phil can
Yeah,
confirm.
I'll let the applicant address that.
All right.
Oops, just locked myself out.
All right, thank y'all very much. Well, the applicant has some rebuttal time left.
Did somebody just mention, though, that it could only be a story and a half? Because that appears to be a full 2-story.
Well, I'm relying on what I'm told by the law director, and it doesn't need a variance for the height. It's code compliant with respect to the height. The only variance that's needed today is the front setback.
As part of his post this appeal, his submittal for permit, he'll have to submit the floor plans that show compliance with the half-story definition. The half-story definition, even to me, just on its face, isn't as evident as like you would think, there's a row of windows as a story and here's another row, that's also a story. It's not, the way the code's written, there are some limitations to floor area on that second level that it might appear from the street as being a story, but it's really not based on the definition. So he's going to have to submit some floor plans to us that it complies with that definition the council said.
Okay, and the floor plans will have to be approved prior to continuation of?
Yes. Yes.
Will we get a notification?
No, ma'am. No, it's just part of the normal permit process.
Okay, thank y'all very much. Yep. Hey, Mr. Harris, just to be sure, I've got a planning commission. This is a variance, correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. I've got something in my folder from planning that it says it's a special exception.
Not this case.
Not, maybe I'm looking at the wrong case. This is 128, right?
I'm looking at the same thing. Request a special exception or reduce the.
Yeah, I've got, and it says 128, case
Oh,
2.
that's because it's in the UZO, so that's the reason why. Anything that's in the UZO.
Okay.
The planning commission has to have
They have to approve.
they have to
Okay.
give a recommendation,
Okay.
transmittal, basically the same thing you would get from a special exception.
Okay.
That's what that is.
Well, and what threw me off was they referred to it in the RE line, planning department recommendation for a special exception. That's why I was asking. Yeah, gotcha, okay.
If you'll come back to the table, feel free, you've got 8.5, I'll change that
Hey,
clock.
will you
8.5.
make sure your microphone is on there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Feel free to address the comments of the opposition, but I guess one question for you would be the overall height and just to understand, you've got to submit some floor
Yep.
plans to us since you're changing the.
And I'm getting a few of those. Obviously, I know before any construction can be started back again, we've, got to submit the plans and everything like that. So the roof height, it's going to be a very low slope gable roof, and it will be in compliance to, that height restriction over there. I was more going to touch base on the front setback. As it sat, the existing house, as you can tell, it jutted out that far to begin with. I understand, the comments made about it looking like it juts out more, but that is exactly how the house looked. I mean, it was the exact same foundation, exact same, look from when I purchased the property and started moving the interior. So from a front setback standpoint, it jutted out the exact same before, I even came about. It stuck out more on the street than, to begin with. But regarding the height, obviously, I'm working with my architect currently right now to, solidify all that. And obviously that will be submitted prior to any other work being done there, but it will definitely be in compliance to, I know that it's from grade to peak, so it'll definitely be in compliance to the height restrictions over there.
Do you have a set of plans or anything that you can share?
He's was supposed to have them back by today. I'm guessing it'll be tomorrow that I could submit over, but.
What were the guys using to build on site then?
Well, with it being a renovation, I've got, a little, rough rendering, but it looks different now, based off of what my architect's working on. He had previously worked on the house, before we bought it. He had another group, I guess, was going to purchase it, so he's working off the plans that they were going to submit. So I'll obviously submit those, directly to you guys if I need to, but it will not be more than a story and a half and will fall under that 27 feet, from the edge of roof.
Members, I'm putting on the screen, the council just Tuesday amended the definition for half-story. So this will be the the applicant may not even know this. This is the definition that we'll use going forward on his half-story, and it's defined as a conditioned space that rests primarily underneath the slope of the roof, usually having dormer windows. The half-story is identified, it says, "This space shall be considered a full story if the top wall plates or at least two opposite exterior walls are greater than 4 feet above the floor of that story below it." So dormer, and it sets some, dormers can't occupy more than 50% of the roof face. The ridge has to be 2 foot offset from the edge of the sidewalls to create that differentiation. So for the applicant and for the neighbors that are here, our definition of half-story, it literally changed in 48 hours. So this is the new rules that he'll have to follow. Our prior rules were basically just said something to the effect of 4 foot high sidewalls and not to exceed 3/4 of the floor area below it. So,
I mean, I don't have measurements, Joey, but just from the looks and scale, it looks like the front part of this house wouldn't comply to the old or new definition. That's what I'm saying.
I can't say one way or the
Yeah,
other.
I understand.
I would trust your eyes better than mine. You work in this world. But to whatever point, he'll have to comply, or he'll have to come back here and ask for a different variance from the story provision.
Yeah, because it looks like that top plate is, I don't know if I had to guess, 8 feet from the pictures.
So anyway, just for that, and again, like I said, the height's not in front of the board. If we look at the drawings and determine it's not compliant, we will send him back here, or he'll alter his plans accordingly to comply with that new definition.
Yeah, thanks, Joey.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay, all right, thank you. We'll close the public hearing and discuss.
Thank you.
I mean,
Can you turn on, your mic's on,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I
was looking at the-
understand where he's coming from. I don't think there was any ill intent here or anything, and things kind of move fast on the job site. I mean, the planning commission votes to approve it. There's a contextual overlay that's going to hold that front roof down. If he kept 50%, he could do it by right. This is my concern, is not having full clarity, granting a variance, having full clarity of what the house ultimately is going to look like. So I guess that's where my holdup is, and that's not having a little bit more information. I mean, maybe I'm not trying to say that the look or style is going to be the variance, and I know the height is necessarily not in front of us, but I don't feel like I have all the information to grant it, because he's asking for, 9.5 feet, which basically means the house is 36% closer to the street than per the contextual overlay. And there's, people here that are against it. So.
If I may offer, Joey, could you please, can you pull up the aerial view? I think one partial viewer now shows like a historical picture. I don't know if you can pull up that. I was checking that, aerial view.
Okay.
Interestingly, this house has been, as far as it goes back to 2007, it's jotted out. For this house, always has the front porch exact same location. So that was, I understand the neighbor's concern, since, seems like once house is demolished and then rebuilt, it looks like it's jotted out more. But if the applicant's testimony, which I believe he's saying exact same thing, so it's sit on the existing foundation over a decade, even more. So to me, it's under the unique circumstances because it has been historically in that place. So as much as a neighbor, it may sticking out, but it is like a unique characteristic of that parcel because the foundation and front porch, that specific house has been in that location way before we installed contextual overlay. And then that new building and footprint is not exceeding It's not expanding, it's not getting closer, so will be built on the exact same location. So to me, if this house has not been removed, demolished, and if the foundation was good, it would be just remodeled, exact same location. For that sense, I don't think applicants' submission or request is out of the order. So I could accept because of the historical, unique characteristic of this parcel.
Yeah, I agree with Member Johnson. You know, it seems like the opposition is mostly concerned with the height, which we're not reviewing today. And as we can see from this aerial view, they're maintaining the existing footprint. So, you know, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the variance, reducing the front street setback to 9.3 feet.
I'll second that, and while we discuss, I will say to the opposition, I mean, somebody said it wouldn't be here but for not getting the permit, but it might well be because they had a right to apply for a variance, and we have historically, when somebody's had an existing foundation that they built on, we've historically considered that a special exception, and it is out of line with some of these houses, but it's not terribly out of line, especially with the one, I guess, to the north. And so I think a special exception does exist too. So that's my discussion. So there's a second. Any further discussion? All right. All in favor of approving? Okay. So that passes 4-0.
Okay, that case is approved on the vote 4-0. And just a reminder to the applicant, if once you get your construction drawings, submit those. We'll review them for the definitions of half-story. All right, with that, you'll submit those to the help desk, like, you know, not here. Okay, our next case is our final case of the afternoon. Let me get over to that. It's case 2025-143. Hang on one second. Let me pull up the plan. Somehow I've locked my computer up. Okay, here we go. All right, case 143, Emad Abdelsayed. Am I close in there? All right, come on forward, sir. Is the appellant in requesting to, for a property located at 4323 NOLENSVILLE PIKE. Gentleman's requesting a street setback variance from the side street known as Providence Heights. Now, Providence Heights, on our aerial photograph, you'll see here, appears like it's an alley. It's pretty narrow. It is about the width of an alley. One of the first questions I asked, and I was speaking to a member of the opposition that's present, one of my first questions to NDOT is this an alley, not a road? And because it affects how we look at setbacks. And they did confirm, even though it's only 18 feet wide and alley width, it is a public street on the official street and sidewalk map. So, and that's this east-west pavement that you see here. As you notice, there's a lot of newer homes that have been constructed up on the hillside there. But okay, now flipping back to our request, the gentleman's requesting to take down the residence that's on the property, and you'll see that house in a second. But he's wishing to construct a new non-residence building on the property. That'll be located where my cursor's at. He's required a street setback of 15 feet from NOLENSVILLE Pikes right away, which he's complying with that. The issue is along Providence Heights. He's also required a 15-foot setback from that property line into the property, and he's requesting 5 feet based on these drawings. And the proposal will be to build the building out front, parking lot in the back, 90-degree spaces with an entrance off Providence Heights with head-in parking, handicap spot there, and then space to back out and come out there. But this is looking into the subject property. I've just pulled off of NOLENSVILLE Pike onto this Providence Street, Providence Heights Street. This is the existing single-family residence that sits on the property now. And then this view is facing to the west and those newer homes that I talked about in the prior thing. And then this is a view across the street on Providence Heights. There's an existing car sales and car repair business across the street from this gentleman's lot. And that is what I've got. So I'll put our site plan up. If the applicant, you want to come forward and present your case to the board, and I do have gentlemen. Is there anyone else present? Okay. So you guys, you saw our last case. You'll have 10 minutes to present your case on why the board should grant your request, and then I'll turn it over to the opposition to give their time, and then you'll get a chance to come back and speak. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name is Masud Fathi at 803 Albemarle Court, Brentwood. The request before you is for a request for variance for front setback, street setback on Providence Heights. Also wanted to mention, if that's any issue, is the canopy in front of the building toward the NOLENSVILLE Road encroaches the setback, but that's just a canopy. It is not any part of the building. The request is because of existing constraints that the property has. If you would look on the southwest side of the property, there is a stream, official stream, and a 30-foot buffer along that stream. So we have limitation on that side of the property as far as getting the parking pushed back. The use of the building is going to be a jewelry store, so there's only limitations on what we can do with the building as far as the spacing the customers and being able to keep the customers separate. So there's limitation on the size of the building. Anything smaller than what we have is not practical. We are hoping, also wanted to mention that if you look at the existing building as it is today, the existing building is closer to the road than the proposed building is going to be. So
Closer
there's
to Providence is what you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
On Providence side, the existing building is now closer to the road than the proposed building. So granted, it is encroaching the setback, but it is an improvement to the existing condition. We request your consideration for approval.
You said you have in the back, you have a, did you say you had a,
Yes,
is
sir.
that
There's a
floodway back
stream
there?
Yes, sir. There's a stream there with a 30-foot buffer.
Okay, I'm trying to. 30-foot buffer from the back property line? Okay, thank you, Mr. Artisan. Okay. Okay, so the 30-foot buffer starts where the 30-foot buffer zone line is that correct?
That's correct.
And you've got a 20-foot setback right there. Okay.
So they're showing him 30 feet from the top of the creek bank, which is here.
Right, it isn't 30 feet from the back property line,
Right.
obviously, so it's,
In the creek.
yeah, okay. Thanks for blowing that up. That makes it a lot easier. questions for the applicant?
One question I have, it's, have you talked with the traffic engineer or anybody else about sight lines? Since you're pulling this fairly tall structure so much closer to a fairly busy street?
No, and we haven't had any comments from NDOT on this. And the property is only 50 foot wide, and the traffic turning from Nolensville Road on to Providence, if you notice, the building and Nolensville Road are at an angle, so there won't be any issue with sight distance.
Has NDOT weighed in one way or the other? Have they
I'm sorry?
seen it? Have they seen it and commented one way or the other on it?
They have not.
They will have to, though, as I understand it, right?
Yes, sir, they will as part of the permit, but
They're gonna get,
Yeah.
since they didn't request any type of variance from the Nolensville setback, they didn't comment on
Okay.
visibility there.
I don't have any other questions.
anybody? Okay. Thank you very much. You'll have some time left for, there is opposition here, as I understand it, so
Thank you.
you'll have some time left for rebuttal. Do we have opposition?
If the opposition come forward, speak. All right. And again, sir, if you'll give the board your name and address and then proceed with your testimony, sir.
Good afternoon. Excuse me. My name is Frank Shelton. I live at 4408 Providence Heights. I'm probably the second oldest resident on Providence Heights at the moment. And Providence Heights is an alley. It may be named as a street on paper, but it's an alley. And with the residents on Providence Heights at this time, and with the addition of 4 new tall and skinnies, it is becoming quite hectic to get in, exit, and enter the traffic on Nolensville Road. With the tire shop just to the north of this property, when they're taking their deliveries, it's hard to see the southbound traffic coming. And with what he's asking, it's gonna, in my opinion, is gonna make the narrowing there at the entrance to Nolensville Road even more difficult to get in and out of. So I'm against this request that they're making.
And is that your reason that you're concerned about the visibility issues for?
Yes, sir.
traffic? Okay.
Because right now with the school to the south and the tire company and unloading and the deliveries, it's getting more and more difficult to get in and out of the traffic on the road.
Understood. Okay. Questions for the opposition? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Applicants, you have some more time left.
Well, I do understand and I sympathize with opposition's concern, but at the same time, considering that there will be an improvement from the proposed building location to the existing, even though it's encroaching the setback, but nevertheless, it is an improvement. There will be more distance from the building to the road with the improvement. I think we are improving the condition now. That should help, if any at all.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. We'll close the public hearing and discuss. Well, I think to me, there's definitely two serious hardships. One is the narrowness of the lot. The other is there's a really large unusable portion in the back. I understand the opposition's concern about the potential safety and visibility issues, and that's just not, that's why these things go through in Nashville Department of Transportation for approval before anything happens, and we're not experts on that and are not asked to, we rely on them to make sure that they approve it. But I do see a hardship here, and I see two hardships, so I think it should be approved, but I'm here to listen to everybody else too, so.
So, I'm born and bred from this neighborhood, so know this neighborhood very well. So coming from that, Harding intersection and Edmondson Pike intersection, I mean, traffic is flying down Nolensville. But, I also see there are some hardships with this site. I definitely see the two hardships with this site. So, what are the next steps when it comes to making sure we don't have issues with sight lines?
Well, it has to go to NDOT to get approval. That's my understanding, is they, just like the other departments have to look at everything they do too, so.
Yes,
The fact that we approve it doesn't mean we're approving they can still not approve it. Correct me if I'm wrong about that, Mr. Hargis, or they can still ask for certain things to be done.
Correct, Mr. Pepper. Mr. Cole, there are two additional reviews NDOT does during the permitting phase. One is a ramp and curb cut on Providence Heights, doing the cut on the city right-of-way. The other is a right-of-way review, where they look at sight lines for streets and fences and such, and getting out of there. So they'll have two looks at it.
Okay.
As part of the permit.
Anybody else? Comments, questions?
No, my only concern was just the site distance, but,
Same.
yeah, but it sounds like that box will be checked eventually.
Yeah.
And then certainly hardships for sure on the width of the lot, and, almost 40% of the back part of it's unusable.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
A second.
Okay, motion, second, any further discussion? Okay, everybody in favor? Okay, that passes.
Case is approved on a vote of 4-0. This will wrap up the last meeting for 2025. So Merry Christmas, members, and we're adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.
Joe, I see one of mine.